Burgundy Ballers, welcome back to another episode of the Ballin in Burgundy podcast. And guys, we got some week 2 predictions coming up. We're going to Mile High. We're going to get a little high altitude, that is, and face Mr. Unlimited. Russell Wilson and those Denver Broncos. They're 0-1. We're 1-0. Before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe here on the channel. Head over to Instagram and TikTok. Go follow us all over there. We got Chris, we got Andrew, and myself. Justin's out on assignment, he's working, obviously, for those who know. Firefighter, one's in the chat. But let's get into this. Sunday. I think it's another 1 o'clock game.
4:25.
It's a 4:15?
4:25, I believe.
4:25? So we're more later afternoon. Washington Commanders at Denver Broncos. We're going 2 Mile High. We're going to get a little high altitude. Sam Howell's first time playing anything above sea level, as he put it. However, we do got some injury updates. Quan Martin, who was in concussion protocol, is out. Curtis Samuel is questionable with a little hip flex. Sam Cosmi is going to play. Terry McLaurin is going to play. But the most important piece coming out of today being Friday night, you guys see this on Saturday, is number 99, Chase Young, is coming back to the field a week early.
About time.
Off that neck stinger that took him out the preseason, took him out week 1. But if I were them, I would limit his snaps, but they said they're going to be smart. They're going to be diligent. It's what they always say. Somehow it messes up. What do y'all think of 99 coming back on the field? Andrew, we'll start with you.
He took too long, honestly. I mean, he's barely played for us since we drafted him, and it's been pissing me off. You all know that. We'll talk about it in the group chat. I'm just mad about it. I've considered whether he still wants to play here or not. And he's coming back. We'll see how good he is. Obviously, in his previous returns from injuries, he's been questionable.
Yep.
But hoping for the best for him, of course. I feel like if he ends up being, that number 2 overall pick, the guy we drafted him to be, that's going to potentially make this defensive line the best in the NFL. There's a chance of that. Yeah. But I think there's also a very legit chance he's going to come back and he's just going to be mid. He could be – injuries change people. You never know. And he's just dealt with, ACL, so many awful injuries that's put him out for so long. The neck stinger, you have no idea how he's going to be. So we have one way to find out, and we'll hope for the best.
Chris, what do you think?
I agree with Andrew. Him coming back, I feel like it's a little too late. Low-key been, also kind of been pissing me off. I'm not even going to lie. I feel like the guy didn't really want to play here. I feel like he's another Albert Hainsworth. Didn't want to play here in Washington. A neck stinger it should not hold you out for almost a month. It really shouldn't,
It should, but it did.
I'm excited to see him play, though. We don't know what he's got in the tank, It might help the defense. Because if he plays, even though our defense has looked better without him, the last couple of years, I'm not even going to lie, ever since that injury in 2021, he's been playing better, low-key. So, but I'm excited to see him out there. Maybe it gives, the whole team a morality boost, not only the defense, but the offense too, which might, get the offense going a little bit just because they got a star defensive player on the field for them.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think Chase Young is that weird. He's like Madden. He's a morale boost when you want him, but when you actually need him, he does nothing but disappoint you, just like Madden. If he comes out, gets constant pressure, beats their tackle and guard off the line, if he's getting double or triple teamed, I think that's a good sign saying, hey, we got to watch out for him now because that leaves a 3v3, 3v2 offensive line to our D line, and we can rush the passer a little bit. We can put him. I don't want to put Chase out in coverage, or maybe we back up Sweat just enough off the line so it confuses him. Like, oh wait, he was on a rush, but now Sweat's rushing. We can
put a QB spy on him, basically.
basically like a QB spy. But I think if Chase, like I said, it's consistent, he's got pressure in his face, pressure in Russell's face. If he's beating tackles, if he's being smart with how he's rushing, if he's not just straight up, but he's like if he gives like a little 1-2 and then starts a swim move, what Vaughn probably was teaching him this time last year, or the summer of last year when he got injured and then re-aggravated his injury, was probably what he was teaching was be a bit more hands-on with, your swim moves and everything. And then he re-aggravated it.
Yeah.
But if he comes out and has zero and like just gets beat by the guard and tackle and just looks nothing, should we be concerned? Probably. But it's his first true game back since week 17. And even then, he only played 45-50% of those defensive snaps in week 17, week 18. It wasn't the whole game. It wasn't a John Allen, Deron Payne snap count. It was more on the lower side.
It definitely wasn't.
Yep.
I didn't know this till earlier, but supposedly from what I heard from my brother, I don't know where he got this source from, but he is asking for 25 to 30 mil. How can you ask for that much but cannot stay healthy and cannot get on the field?
Because it's the edge market. It's the edge. I mean, you saw how Nick Bosa just got paid. You see what Micah's. I guarantee you, because Bosa got what? About 200 guaranteed. Bosa got one. It was 122 guaranteed. Bosa got because it was like 122 guaranteed. Yeah. If we had a fully healthy Chase Young, because Micah's going to get probably close to 130 guaranteed because Micah is a beast.
Yeah.
If Chase was even producing half of last year, he could ask for 20 to 25 mil, but that's when it's going to go to Sweat if he doesn't produce. But it is the edge rusher market. It's that, and corners are the quarterback of the defense. You're just going to see the price market go higher and higher.
And here's
my bad. I tell you what, he's not getting that money. It's going to be Montez Sweat.
And he also doesn't deserve it, unless he has. It's the truth. I saw you chuckle there, John. It's the truth. Unless he has a massive comeback season and is a monster, I don't even think I want him on our team. We are not a rich team right now. We don't have the money to be re-signing him if he's asking for like decent money when we already have a top 5, top 3 defensive line without him. And young edge rushers with a lot of potential behind him who could come up and take a spot and be like okay starting guys in our defensive line rotation. We need to re-sign Sweat, who I think is a bigger priority, and then Curl. And that's only 2 guys. These guys are going to require a lot of money, which we do not have right now. They're our first 2 priorities, in my opinion. Yep. Chase is not someone that we need to be putting a lot of money towards or worried about re-signing unless he is absolutely amazing coming back.
Yep. So these are current 2024 free agents that are going to hit the market like free agents. We don't know what free agents mean. Cam Curl, Chase Young, Sadiq Charles, Antonio Gibson, James Smith-Williams, Khalid Hudson, Montez Sweat, Curtis Samuel, Cody Barton, All-Pro Jeremy Reeves, and Kendall Fuller. We have 11 free agents, and we will probably re-sign 4 of them. Curl, Sweat, Reeves, and honestly, I could see us keeping Fuller for another season.
Yeah.
I can see us using him as another year because Juiced is great because Forbes will be will be corner 1 by the end of the season. I think that's guaranteed. Juiced, I don't know. I don't know how well St. Juice is going to convert back to being what we wanted him out the draft, being a lockdown corner, because 2022 and 21 didn't really look like it.
Question: what don't you know about Juice? Like, are you thinking about like starter worthy? Or are you thinking about cornerback 1, cornerback 2? What are you unsure of about him?
I'm not sure he'll be more than a QB or more than corner 3.
Really? Even with his very good performance for a lot of last season.
As well as he does and his good size, I see him more as what really we drafted Quan Martin for, is that Buffalo nickel. He's got the size, the speed, and the length, but he's constantly getting beat by better receivers. And then you see Forbes locking up a Rondale Moore or a Marquise Brown, and then it's like, man, they got something in Forbes. And then you look at the St. Jude's highlights or lowlights, depending on what you're watching, and you're like, how did we let that up? How did he get beaten coverage?
Quan's also a big project guy. He's not someone that we expected to come in and be like Forbes and like lock down immediately. I mean, he's been getting cooked. I think we're all ready for that. And I personally do not want to see him starting until next year at the latest. I don't think he's starter worthy for this season. And I think he has potential to be a decent starter for us, but just not yet. He's a project guy.
Yeah. Chris, I know you're itching to say something. You got that thinking face on.
Bro, low key, I was talking to my brother about this the other day. I think Kendall Fuller is like another Josh Norman. Low key. Like when Josh Norman got here, like those first 2 years, Josh Norman was good. I'm not gonna lie. But then those like last couple of years he was here, you could see it. He was getting cooked.
I don't know what Josh Norman you were watching, because I remember him getting paid that first season. He looked all right, and then get cooked for 3 more years after that.
I mean, I just feel like he wasn't, he wasn't all that, like for what we signed him. And I feel like Kendall Fuller is kind of in the same boat. Yes, Kendall Fuller had a good year last year, I feel like maybe. But as the years go on, he's going to get older and he's going to start getting burnt. And I think this year, I feel like is the start. I hate to say that, but I feel like it's coming.
That's fair. I mean, Kendall Fuller is either 29 this year or will be turning 29 next year. So I do agree that he is on the older side, and he probably will be. If we do re-sign him, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be like a Jacoby Brissett deal. It's going to be a 1 year, 9-10 million, 4 guaranteed with incentives. But I mean, he was decent last year. I don't want to give up too much. I don't want to hate on him too much. He did quality time last year, but he also didn't look the greatest. But I don't expect him to be a Jalen Ramsey, a Sauce Gardner, a Pat Surtain, who we'll get into here in a second. But I expect him to be better than a Jimmy Ward, Steven Nelson, a Trevon Diggs, because Diggs is going to give up everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we can keep him relatively cheap, because let's say we draft another corner next year, who's the vet that's going to take him, Forbes, and even help still, teach Juice? Is that going to be Reeves? Because he's at safety.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be interesting. Like, not going to lie. I hope Kendall Fuller has a good year this year. But like I said, he's getting older and the years are going to catch up to him. Oh, yeah. And then it's like you said, we're probably just going to sign him to a 1 year, $9 or $10 million deal. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I'm not saying keep him on for 3-4 more years, but if you do, keep him for 3-4 more years as a coach.
Yes.
Like, try to sign him to the coaching department if you want to keep him long term. But as a player, 1 year, and then you go a 1 year rental is how I put it.
Ballers, hold up. We got a few sponsors we need to personally thank for here at Ballin and Burgundy. First, our guy Washington on the Daily, Instagram and YouTube. Huge sponsor. We want to give our massive thanks out to them. You can follow Washington on the Daily, both on Instagram and on Twitter, WSH on the Daily. Our guy Tony, who's Pro Tech Sports Network. Huge thanks to him. I met up with him at the Commanders-Vikings game. Huge thanks to him. Our guy Sanchez at On the Warpath podcast over on YouTube and on Instagram. And then finally, our guy Rio Robinson, Mr. Rambling with Rio himself, our new sponsor, and a huge thanks to him. Met up with him at the Vikings Commanders game as well. said thank you to him. Again, huge thanks. Again, all of their Instagrams and YouTubes are going to be down in the description. You guys go follow all of them. And again, one big thank you to Rio, Tony, Sanchez, watching on the daily for being sponsors of not only today's video, but Ballin and Burgundy as a podcast. Get back to work.
And now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
Let's talk about those Broncos, because they will be without Frank Clark and Greg Dulcich. They're starting outside linebacker from the Chiefs. Remember, he got signed from the Chiefs by the Chiefs. Or he left the Chiefs and got signed by the Broncos. And Greg Dulcich is starting tight end. Jerry Jeudy will be playing. Riley Moss, their rookie corner, will be playing, and DJ Jones, their offensive tackle, will be playing. But they've got pieces. Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams, who's a good running back. Samaje Perine, the backup from the Bengals last year, is now in Denver. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. They elevated little Jordan Humphrey from the practice squad. He was on the Saints last year. They traded for Adam Troutman in the offseason, the Saints' former backup tight end. He's now back with Sean Payton. Offensive line looks good. Bowles, Ben Powers, Lloyd Cushenberg, Quinn Myers, and Mike McGlinchey. That was their big signing. So a decent offensive line. They just better hope and pray that we have less than 2 sacks on Sunday. And then their defense, it's nothing to sneeze at. But it's nothing that I'm going to be, holding my breath about. Randy Gregory, DJ Jones, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, Alex Singleton, Pat Surtain, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, and Damari Mathis. Their secondaries, when I'm concerned about Surtain, Jackson, and Simmons. I think outside of Gregory and Singleton, I'm not as worried as I should be. But we said that about Arizona last week, and they came to feast. They got 6 sacks on us last week. So if we give them any more than 3, I don't see the floodgates closing after that. Chris, I'll start with you on this one.
Let's see, going into Mile High, playing them Broncos. We got to go up against first name Russell, last name Wilson. No, I usually we kind of contain Russell Wilson. The last time we played Russell Wilson was when he was with Seattle on a Monday night game when we had Taylor Heineke in 2021. We contained him that game till the final 2 minutes, and then that's when he decided to pop off, and then they scored and almost beat us that game. Thank God they didn't get the 2 point. But no, I like this game where it's at. I think it gives our defense another good test, I feel like, with their offensive line. I don't know how good their offensive line is. I don't know how many sacks they gave up last week. But if we're being real, after that game last week versus Arizona, yes, our defense played well. But if we're being honest, our defense hasn't really – it's been okay against mobile quarterbacks, I'll say. It's been okay. Like Kyler Murray, yeah. Like, I think if the Cardinals had Kyler Murray last Sunday, I think they might have beaten us. I'm not even going to lie. Our offense is going to have to look way better than what it did last week against Arizona. I think Sam Howell has to at least throw for 2 touchdowns with 230 yards this game. This seems reasonable. He can do it as long as the offensive line will give him time and the receivers can get open. And if it doesn't, I think you could run some RPOs. I'm not going to lie. You can, run the ball with Brian Robinson. Gibson, you might be able to run it with, depending on, if he decides to show up and have a good day and not fumble the football like he did. But, I think it'll be a good game. We need this win, I feel like. We need this win in order to, people kind of look at us and be like, all right, maybe these guys can, do something, But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Andrew?
Chris, I 100% agree with you. This is a big win. I've got three main things for this next game. Obviously, I wasn't here for the week 1 post-game reaction, but I honestly feel like we outplayed the Cardinals a lot more than the numbers showed. The only reason that game wasn't 30-10 was because we had 3 turnovers. That resulted in them getting points and resulted in us not having the chance to get points. Sam Howell looked good, controversial. Two touchdowns, 1 interception that was deflected at the line. It's not entirely his fault. Really accurate. The only problem was that he was holding on to the ball too long. And we obviously don't know for sure if that's because he's looking for the big play or if our receivers weren't getting open. I heard talk about both. And if that's the case and our receivers weren't getting open against the Cardinals, I'm obviously worried about them against the Broncos secondary because they're a good pass defense team.
Yeah.
And if that was a problem last game, it could be even bigger of a problem this game. Also, talking about Russell Wilson, there's been quite a bit of, controversy about is he going to have a comeback year? How good is he really? We don't know. Last game against the Raiders, but still, overall, he had his ups and downs, right? But I think he actually looked pretty decent. I don't remember his stats exactly. I could pull them up, but whatever. But he showed some good signs, and I think he could put up a good fight. They've got an okay receiving core. I like our defense, though, and I think we have the advantage this game just because we actually did outplay the Cardinals so much last week. It just didn't show up in the numbers. So I think it's going to be a good week for us, and it's an important week too.
Yeah. I think on paper, we looked better. On the field, you could tell something wasn't clicking. Penalties didn't help either team either. But there's that. Russell Wilson last week against the Raiders, 27 of 34, 177, and 2 touchdowns. And combined between Javonte Samaje and Russ had 95 yards on the ground rushing and only gave up 2 sacks. And they were to Mad Max Crosby and Jerry Tillery. So actually, the Raiders D-line is actually pretty decent. Tillery, Marcus Peters, and I don't see their first-round pick on here unless he just didn't. Oh, there he is, Tyree Wilson. But yeah, the Broncos gave up 2 sacks last week. The leading receiver last week was Samaje, 4 for 37. No one eclipsed 40 yards for them, which is interesting. They did have an interception last week, and their defense didn't have a sack at all last week, which is interesting to say the least. I think if we can keep time, for whatever reason, we always have 30 plus minutes of time of possession. I don't know how, but we do. If we can keep it to 31 to 35 minutes of time of possession, we should win this game. I can almost anticipate an interception from Howe. I think I can anticipate it. It's his 3rd game going in. It's against the Broncos. I can see it happening. But if we keep the turnovers down, keep the penalties down, if we give up more, like I said, more than the 3 sacks, I think it'll be a bad sign. And we need turnovers. We didn't get big turnovers until the second half and really the 4th quarter. We need those in the 2nd and 3rd quarters badly.
Definitely to take over this game. We're definitely gonna need that.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Forbes pick 6 week 2. That'd be pretty nice.
I would love to see Emmanuel Forbes get a pick.
Even just an interception would be amazing. Yeah, that's what we're wanting from the guy. We're hoping he can be the dude who makes the big plays and the turnovers. So that'd be fun to see if we can make a fumble, interception. We'll see. That'd be fun.
We nearly had 2 last week. Our DBs couldn't find the ball off the receiver to save their life. Getting bounced off hands, getting bounced off chests. You think Kadarius Toney was playing corner for us. With the amount of hands that was illegally seen. I think if Curtis doesn't play, because he's questionable, so he's probably gonna have limited snaps. Use De'Ami Brown. Use Tinsley. They literally only used the same 4 receivers last week. Jahan, Curtis, Terry, Thomas, and then the 2 running backs. That's all they used last week. You didn't see Tinsley, De'Ami Brown, Byron Pringle. Like, you didn't see any of the other pieces last week. It was the same 5-6 guys. Spread them out a little. Spread the offense out a little bit. And if Logan Thomas has more drops this week,
I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm gonna drop by the facility. I'm gonna drop by his house. I'm gonna drop off some gloves and some dog shit and throw it at the man. Because he will have if he doesn't have any more hands, cut him. He's old, blanking ass, needs to start catching balls. Sam's not throwing 60-mile-an-hour shots like Patrick Mahomes. Half the time he's just dumping off. And he's like, ugh. Like, catch the ball. You were not Kadarius Toney. Catch the ball.
And that's the thing that was making me mad last week. Logan Thomas not being able to catch the ball. Like, come on, dude. Yeah, you used to be a quarterback, but guess what? When's the last time you played a quarterback? What, before 2019? If I'm not mistaken, like, dude, you've had over 3 years, 4 years. You got to be able to catch those type of passes, man.
Yep.
I mean, and it's not like Sam Howell wasn't like, throwing them like 5 yards away from him. He was kind of putting them right there for him, and he just couldn't catch. I feel like we need to get Cole Turner or John Bates out there, low key. Spread the offense like you said, John.
Yeah. Spread
the offense instead of using the same 6 guys over and over again. I mean, yes, those are your starters, but guess what? Spread the offense.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
I mean, speaking of John Bates did commit like 2 penalties and then catch a ball last week. So I want to see hands from him too. And I don't want to see, I can anticipate penalties already because Broncos had 10 last week. We had like 9 or 10 last week. So if this is anything like the Arizona game, it's going to be a penalty-ridden game. If we can keep those down to 5 or less, 3 or less, because I can anticipate a holding call. I can anticipate that. I can anticipate, holding. I can anticipate a false start. And I could see an illegal man downfield. That's all I can see. I don't want to see pass interference. I don't want to see personal foul unless it's the Broncos to us. Then, do it so we can, move the chains. I don't want to see none. I don't want to see taunting. I don't want to see targeting. I don't want to see none of that. Keep the turnovers, the penalties, and the sacks down. Plain and simple. If you can do that, I think we win the game.
Yeah.
If Sam has more than 150 yards passing, we win the game. If he has a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown, we might win the game. And I think he makes history, too. I think he'd be the only quarterback the first 3 games of his career having a rushing and a passing touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. We definitely need this win, And not only do I need this win, but I need this win because on Tuesday it's my birthday. And, I'm not trying to go into school all pissed off.
Well, in that case, happy early birthday from us.
Yeah,
and
thank
Burgundy
you.
Burgundy Ballers, whenever you see this, just type in the comments, happy birthday to Chris, and I'm sure we'll post it on social media. But you know the drill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be a hard game. I think it's gonna be a close game. I don't see it being a blowout. I could see this being another 20-17, 21-17. 25-24 type of game because Russ will cook and then let's burn the stadium down.
Yeah. This is the way. My bad to cut you off, Andrew.
No, go for it.
This is the way the game will go. We will either A, win by the skin of our teeth, or B, we will start off hot and then proceed to let it go downhill and lose the game from there.
My personal prediction is going to be 24-17. we'll see how that works out. I'm a little bit more optimistic than ever, and I feel like. But I feel like we've got a good chance this week, and I think we've got a chance to show off. Someone else I'd like to see get more involved with the passing game would be Cole Turner if Logan doesn't really pick it up. He had that one catch last week for like 18 yards or something. It was like a nice route, great grab on a hard pass, in coverage, picked it right up and kept moving. I think he's got a lot of potential. I honestly think he's better than Logan right now. So I'd like to see him get some more touches this next week and prove his point, you know?
Yeah. And Chris, what is your prediction going to be? Andrew went 24-17.
I'm going to say Washington wins this game. Probably like 21-17, to be honest.
21-17?
Yes.
So Andrew's within 7. You're within 5. I'm gonna go 21-18. I'm gonna keep this within a 3. No, I'll take that back. 21-20. I think we win by the skin of our shaft again. Because we love to play down to the competition. We love to do it.
Yep.
We should beat Arizona last week. We didn't do it. But yeah, we somehow beat Philly's undefeated streak last year. We beat Dallas last year. We beat Packers. No, the Packers wasn't like we decide to drop these, relatively easier games and then decide to show up for the big ones, which, yes, you show up for the big ones, but you shouldn't be dropping these types of games.
Exactly.
So,
and not only do we need this game to go 2-0, but look at our next 2 opponents after this game. Buffalo and Philadelphia. And look what Philadelphia did Thursday night against the Vikings. Yes, they almost blew it, but guess what? That team still looks dangerous.
It looks dangerous, but they're not last year dangerous. Last year, they started 8-0, went to the Super Bowl. This year, they started 2-0, had a 5-point game against the Patriots. I think I had another 5-point game or 6-point game with Minnesota.
Yeah, they won 34-28 against Minnesota.
34-28. So a touchdown game, essentially.
Yes.
They're not blowing them out like they did last year. They're not 14-point, 21-point, winners. They're keeping it close.
Yeah.
That's why you see AJ Brown on the sidelines. Man, give me the ball. Give me the ball. And Stephen A pointed this out. Shannon pointed this out. Pat pointed this out. He does this every year. Is Philly will be winning a game, but AJ's upset because he's not getting the targets. Why would you? You're winning the game. Yeah. Why would I be going air raid offense for winning the game? Because Philly's going to run the ball this year. Jalen, Kenneth Gainwell, they traded for DeAndre Swift. They're going to run the damn football.
Yeah. Anyways,
Philly doesn't look
definitely need this game.
The only team I am legitimately scared of, and it's not even the team, it's the defense, is the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, definitely 100%. That's why that Thanksgiving matchup is going to be a good one. That's going to be a defensive slugfest, I feel like, right there.
Yeah. That is the only team I can confidently say right now is a defense I'm scared of. I'm not really scared of Buffalo's defense.
No.
I'm pessimistic about us going into Buffalo, but I'm not scared of Buffalo. And who was the other one you said? It was Buffalo and...
I said Buffalo and Philly.
Philly? Okay, yeah. So Buffalo is a winnable game, for sure. Philly is going to be more of a stretch. But we will deep dive into those when we get to those weeks.
Yes.
We're gonna keep that on the deck.
Yes.
Down here.
Definitely going to be interesting, though.
But those games have been interesting, and then our Broncos game coming up on Sunday, 4:25 in Mile High, should be interesting. Like I said, Andrew had 24-17. Chris is on the 21-17, and I'm on the 21-20. So we're all within a one-score game. Like I said, turnovers down, penalties down, sacks down. we win the game. Anything else y'all want to add?
No.
All good. That was great.
Nice and easy, guys. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe here on the video and here on the channel. Head over to Instagram and TikTok. Go follow us over there. As you see, we got a relatively new banner, so go follow all of the hosts down there and go. Let's go support the Commanders. Let's go win us a game. Terry should go off. Let's hope Chase Young comes to produce. And don't forget to stay ballin'. We'll see y'all out there.